The third part of causation, and the one that has some of the most interesting cases, is whether there's been a break in the chain of causation. Now, this break can come about through the act of a third party, potentially. Could be a doctor's negligence, perhaps, in treating the victim, or somebody else who intervenes. Actus intervenus is what it's called in the law. Or it could be through the actions of the victim. Sometimes victims, when they're threatened, do some daft and quite illogical things. And sometimes the victim's actions can break the chain of causation. We're going to look at each of these in turn. The first way in which the chain of causation can be broken is by the act of a third party. We should start by saying really that medical negligence and mistakes by doctors or paramedics or ambulance crew or whatever very rarely break the chain of causation. And the reason for this is because those doctors, those paramedics, they make mistakes sometimes, and the law recognizes also that the defendant is in that position of needing medical treatment or an ambulance because of the actions of the defendant. And so they very rarely break the chain of causation. And the rule is the actions of a third party must be so independent and potent in causing the death, then there will be a break in the chain of causation. So let's say, for example, that someone had a stab wound and they were taken to hospital and they were treated for the stab wound, and then potentially they were given some drugs or some treatment that had no connection whatsoever with their initial condition, and this killed them. In that type of situation, potentially, the treatment, the act of a third party would be independent, not linked to the initial injury, and potent enough on its own to cause the death. So this is very, very rare, but it does happen sometimes. The second way in which the chain of causation can be broken is through the victim's actions. Um, but once again, in order to break that chain of causation, the victim's actions must be unreasonable or not a foreseeable response. Let's look at this guy escaping from a crime scene, let's say, by jumping out of the window. Now, in working out if what he has done is a foreseeable response, we'd have to know what he was being threatened with. If there's a guy in the other room pointing a gun at him or is even shooting at him, then his diving out the window and potentially dying or getting seriously injured because of that could be seen to be a foreseeable response. If, however, he's doing this because somebody is potentially trying to steal his wallet or get some information out of him by threatening him, then it may be thought to be that his response here is a daft, illogical, not a foreseeable response, and so would break the chain of causation.